Hello, YouTube. Dave with Smiles Flies. Getting ready to tie up a Royal Wolf, Royal Coachman, whatever you want to call it. I've looked them up and they both look so familiar, or so similar, that there's almost not a difference. Anyhow, we're going to do that today. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video than usual because, I don't know, that's what I chose to tie on. Anyhow, as usual, I'm going to be laying down a thread base, and got to get that going, and then we'll take it from there. And I don't know, maybe you guys could let me know in the comments. Would you guys be interested in a video of me showing some of the materials, the different materials that I buy and have on hand, and different things that you could use them for? Is that something that would interest you guys, or do you like more of the how-to? Do you like what I'm doing now? Because I might mix it up and add in some stuff like that. Show you some of my saddles. Show you some really cool materials, some decent beads I got from Saluda Beads. Give you guys recommendations on where you can buy some reasonable hooks. $7 per 100. Maybe kind of like helping out a little bit. I don't know if it would or not. But you may not be interested at all in that. So that's why I'm asking you to leave me a message in the comments to let me know what you think. So we're going to get a tail. I'm going to use just a few, and I mean just a few pheasant tail. Oh my God, that came out wrong. A few pheasant tail fibers for the tail. And because on dry flies, typically dry flies don't have a whole bunch of, like a mayfly would have three pieces of a tips of feathers is the best way to explain that. Anyhow, so on a dry fly like that, the tails are very sparse is the best way to say it. And on this one, you want it to be about 3/4 of your shank length. And what I do to do that, to gauge that, is I'll lay it where I want it, and then I grab it right there. And now these fingers are my gauge to where I need to tie it, because I've got it right where I want it. So then I just lay it in. I usually start at the halfway point. I already got it trapped, and I'm starting to wrap it back. And on most dry flies, you don't have to go the whole way back to the bend of the hook. Sometimes you can leave a little bit of the shank bare in doing this. But I'm going to stop about right there. I like the length of that. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to wrap the whole way back up front like I always do. I'm going to keep the pheasant tail fiber in there. Not that that little bit of fiber is going to build me any kind of a body, but it's just something that is routine for me. I'm so used to doing it. So this stuff you don't even have to snip. You can just grab it and pop it right off. It's really cool like that. Okay, so there's the tail. Next step will be, I'm going to come back to about the halfway point again, and I'm going to break out some of my peacock curl. And I want to grab probably, I don't know, I'll probably grab like 3 strands, if that. I'm going to go with 3 just because, that's what I chose in my mind. And I'm going to get all 3 of those. And you got these white things at the end. I like to pull them off or cut them off, whatever you want to do. Most people are probably going to cut it. That makes sense. And one of the things sometimes peacock curl is a tough thing. You got to get it from the right place, really, because sometimes you'll get, some pieces will be 6-7 inches long. Other pieces will be like 3-4 inches long. And that makes it hard when it comes to wrapping it, because it can slip out. And like when you're wrapping it, one will be longer than the other, and sometimes you'll run out of room before you wanted to. But anyhow, I'm going to come back to about where I need to start this. Get it wrapped in, get it tightened down. I'm going to come back to where my tail starts, which is right about there, and then I'm going to wrap back up, and I'm going to stop right about there. I can move my thread around anytime I want to. And again, I'm tying materials in. I wrap them right in. I don't like to, it's not that it's wasteful, because there's only like a half inch of it there, but it does help me to build a taper. You can see the taper starting. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap these up about, I don't know, about 1/3 of the way up the hook. These flies here, they've been around for a long time, and they do produce. They're a rather good fly to have, and I'm not sure what it is. I feel like it's like on a mayfly hatch. These would be a good mayfly imitation, but they are sort of their own thing. But they do their job. From what I've used them and caught fish on them, and I've heard a lot of people. Most every fly fisherman is going to have some of these in their box. I say that a lot, but that's the truth. Not every fly in the world is going to be something a fly fisherman has in their box, but these popular ones like this, most definitely. So I'm going to come over the top here and catch that. Once you get it caught with one wrap, you're good to go. And then I'm just going to take a couple more wraps and stop. And then these here you can break off too. You don't have to worry about cutting. So I got that popped off. I like the way that's looking. Now you're going to need to get some red floss, or you could use Swiss straw. You could use a whole bunch of different things if you want to, but you need it to be red because that's what the middle of this fly consists of. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie that in. I'm going to wrap back to where my peacock curl starts. And I'm going to stop right there and wrap it the rest of the way up. And this one is only in the middle. You got to keep in mind you got to put wings and stuff in, so you only want to probably, we'll see. You can watch with me. I'd say maybe, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch. But I like to do double if not triple wraps to build thickness. And you don't want to go real far. You just want it to be there for I don't know if it's like a hot spot or what it is, but when they see red, I don't know if it's because they can see it better, or if because they think it's blood and it's a beat up fly. I'm not sure what they think, but it sure does work. And I'm wrapping back down because I'm trying to build some thickness. And then I'm going to come back up, and that's about how much you need. You don't need much more than that. I probably didn't even really need as much as I put on there, but it'll work. All right, so I'm going to hold this up while I wrap back to it. And you're going to take that and catch it right there. That looks nice and clean right now, too. I like it. All right, there's that. Open the scissors a little. Pop it off. There it is. Now, there's something you wouldn't be able to pull off. Well, some people do. O'Brien, the flysmith, I've watched him. Sometimes I think he's crazy because I'm afraid one of these days he's going to try to break his thread off and he's going to cut the shit out of his finger. Excuse my language. Anyhow, there's that. Now we're kind of where we want to be. And I am going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap up because I have some fibers of that floss just sticking out everywhere. And I do not want that to become part of my fly. So there it is. And now I'm going to go back and grab another, 3 pieces of peacock curl. I'm going to be a little pickier this time because I want the longer ones, because it gives me more room to wrap. Like I can wrap it further, because those smaller ones cause you to not wrap as much as you want to. I think I've used the word wrap it off today, fellas. Ladies, people, whatever. Okay, so there's 2. And I am picky about lining them up. I don't know why. But I can be honest with you. It's a good thing to be picky. It really is, because, you want your fly to be clean. And the more time you spend making sure everything's right and being picky, the better the end result's going to be better for you, I promise. So I'm going to give that a little snip to get rid of those pieces of, the white stuff that's on there. I guess it's fibers from where they rip it off the main stem of a peacock sword. So I'm going to wrap this up forward, catching all the fibers and the tips. I'm going to go all the way up front again because I'm getting pretty thick back towards the middle, and I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to go ahead and wrap. And I noticed that my floss seemed to have slipped back on me and made my tail a little bit smaller. But that's okay. That's not going to hurt anything. It's still going to be what it's going to be. Just the proportions might be a teeny bit different. And does that matter? Yes, it does. But for For the video purposes, I'm just going to keep going with it. So I'm going to come back. I think I'm going to give that one more good wrap, maybe 2 turns. Yeah, we'll give it 2 to thicken it up. There it is. And then you want to kind of pull this around your thread, left-hand it, put it down over, and once you catch it, you've got it. You don't have to keep going. And I give that like 2 more wraps because that's in there real good right now. And again, you just have to grab these, and these are pop-offable. You just grab them and pop them off. Pop-offable. What the heck was that? Maybe we need to do some English class, and while I'm here. Oh, okay. So I'm not going to keep playing with that because I don't want to hurt a fly. I'm going to pull stuff around, and yeah, there it is. There's that. So now things start getting a teeny bit difficult now, in my opinion. A lot of people would be like, "Oh, that's easy," and you know what? It's not super hard, but it's a little more difficult than what you just saw me do. So I'm going to need a whole bunch of different stuff going on here right now. I need to dig out a nice piece of peacock or mallard flank, which I got a whole big bag of that. Well, 2 or 3 big bags of it, but this is one of them. I keep the majority of my materials, especially feathers and stuff, and my saddles. I keep them all in a big Rubbermaid tub, about 8 inches tall, 2.5 foot long, and about 18 inches deep. And that's to keep the bugs out of it, because you can pick up mites, anything, and I don't want to have that problem. And you wouldn't think that they would get to it in your house, but believe me, they will, because if you got animals, the animals go in and out of the house, and mites are just so tiny, they could fit through the cracks of about anything in your house. So, believe me, you can get mites, and you don't want that, because your feathers will go to shit real quick. There I am with the swearing again. Good Lord. Watch your mouth, mister. But anyhow, I hope you guys are doing great out there, man. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I mean, I am putting a lot of time into it, hoping that you guys are enjoying it. I could be fooling myself, but that's okay. I've done that many times in my 58 years, so. And right now, what I'm going to be doing is a wally wing, which I think I've showed you that already before, but we're going to show it again. So you want to prep your feather, and I like to get a little bit of moisture on my finger, just a little bit, and pull this forward for now. And when I make these, I like to see how it's curved. I like to put the curve up like this for here, for this part. And then I get a little bit of wetness in my finger and thumb here, and I go to about the middle, if not higher than the middle, and I start trying to separate the barbs on each side of that stem out. And you want to keep it as even as possible. Like you want to try to have both sides about equal. Because it does matter. In the end result, it really does matter. A lot of people don't think it. Some people don't think it does. But in my experience, and I've tied hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of wally wings. Made these wally wings. I feel it needs to be even because, again, it's about making a clean fly. Right? So, now, what I've done is I've stroked them back and I've got them to here. And you can already tell what the wings look like. So I'm going to I'm trying to figure out exactly what size I want. Yeah, I like that. But then I got to pull it tighter because if not, I'm going to have big old bubble wings. Bubble wings. Okay, so there they are. That's prepped. I'm turning in my hand a little bit. Nope. Turning it, screwed it up a little bit. See, these can be contemptible son of a guns, I promise you. They can make you want to pull your hair out. So I found it. Got it where I want it. I'm going to wrap up a little bit. And that's about where I'm going to want the fly with the wings to be. So I do a pinch wrap, and then I pull down hard and quick. And I wrap hard. You want to wrap backwards. You don't want to go too far. Maybe 5, 6 wraps back, if that. And then you let it, there you go. There it is. And when you lift this up, instead of cutting it across instead of going like this way and cutting it, you want to come from the top where the feather's tied in back. And the reason for that, it'll show itself right there, is now when I do this and I tie back a little, it's helping me to build my taper, as you can see. And there we go. So now that we're at this point, I like to lift these up, get them up so far, and then I use my thumb to pull them back and hold on to it right here. And we're building a thread dam in front, and that purpose of that is to hold the wings upright. because, it would look stupid with the wings forward like that. So there I'm going. I'm trying my best to stay right up against the feather without bugging that area or causing any issues there, because it'll make the wing look funny if you don't do it just right. And now that you get to this point, you want to, okay, so on each side, you want to grab maybe 2 or 3 of these fibers. That's all you need. And pull down real slow, and it starts coming right off the stem. And there it is. There's one wing already, but you can't tell yet. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Use 2 to 3 fibers. It doesn't matter if you end up getting 4 or 5, I'm not going to tell you to sit there and count it, but you want to use just a few fibers. So you get it, you pull it down, see? Now that went all wrong for me. So I'm going to unwrap all this, and you're going to see me make a whole other feather, because I don't know what happened. Something made it split the wrong way. And this is the tough part about these feathers, or about making wally wings. It can be contemptible. It really can. This is a very, very hard pattern these wings aren't easy to do at all, by any means. But that's okay. I'm so used to it. There's been times, and you'll find when you're doing them yourself, if you learn how to do them, or you already do, it is, I've had to do 7 or 8 different sets of wings to try to get it right, because sometimes things just don't go the way you planned it. Even your best laid plans are going to kick you in your butt sometimes. I should have known to pull more than one feather out, because that does happen often. Now you'll have days where you're doing it and they'll tie in like perfection. There'll be no problems. But you're going to have days where the feather's just not going to agree with you. So that's why you got to be selective about what feather you're using. Look them over and make sure you get a nice sized one. Make sure it doesn't have too thick of a stem, which, this part. And make sure your fibers right here, the barbs that are coming off, aren't separated and missing any in the middle, because that'll make a difference in the fly. So it'll give me a chance to show you again. Curved part, I like to have it this way. So it's curved up. The tips are curved up. Then I'll grab the main stem right here again, wet my fingers and dry them just a little bit, leave it moist, and then grab a hold of some barbs and start pulling them down on each side and making them as even as you can. Okay. And as I'm looking, where am I at? Okay, I need to pull a few of these ones up. This part can be enough to make you lose your mind, because at least me, I try to do them just absolutely perfect. And, I overthink these a lot. So there we go. That's another decent looking one. You know what? I'm going to stroke that back just a little better, because it doesn't feel just right to me. Any of you people that are watching, if you happen to be from Pennsylvania or close by, March 15th and 16th in Lancaster, Pennsylvania it's a fly tying expo, and it's one of the big ones in our area. I was there last year. I went down to meet Brian the flysmith, and I met him and his wife. He was a guest tyer there. He will be this year again, and it's a real good time. I found out Joe Humphreys was there, and I used to fish with Joe and tie with Joe. So it was so sweet to meet him, and he remembered me after 20-some years, and he was 95 years old. And I'm thinking, how is it that your mind is better than mine is? Like, my memory is terrible. And this guy's remembering me from 20, 25 years ago. And he signed a little picture for me. He signed a book that my son had bought. And he was doing fly casting demonstrations there. He just turned 96, because he's local to me. He lives within, I could be in his house in probably 20 minutes. Really cool little story here. Him and his wife, way back in the day, they tied flies and saved all the money they made off those flies to buy the house that they still live in today. What a great story that is. I think that's just so neat that, he tied flies. Can you imagine how many flies that man must have tied? Because back when he did that, you were maybe getting 10, 15, 20, 30 cents a fly, not much. So But you could buy houses a whole heck of a lot cheaper too back then. Anyhow, I got those split just right. You have these little fibers standing up right here. You want to get them. You don't want to get too close to the wing because you'll split the whole thing. The whole thing will go to crap real quick in your hands. You can't get too close or that'll all unravel. So I'm going to pull these back one more time. I didn't like the thread dam that I did, so I'm going to make sure I get a good one. There it is. And what I like to do, not everybody does this. This is just something that I do for durability. Thank you, Danny DeCare. He kept bugging me. Dave, you ought to try UV resin on that. You'll see what I mean. And I kept saying, I'm not going to do that, man. That just doesn't seem natural because I'm so old school with fly tying. Heck, it took me a long time to get used to using synthetics because back in the day when I used to tie production, you didn't have the availability of synthetics. Like, they were around, there was a few around, but nothing like there is now. So it's a whole new game to me. So I didn't, I don't really go with all. But anyhow, to make a long story short, I'm darn glad that I listened to them and tried it because it's the only way I make them now. Because these wings are indestructible once you put the resin on it. And for those of you out there that are fishermen and are good at it, you might be saying, well, wouldn't that change the way they fly through the air when you're casting them? No, it doesn't. And what really helps with these is your regular, if I didn't put resin on it, it wouldn't take much. One tooth from a fish, get caught on that, and it would ruin the whole feather. Like, so you spend $2.50, $3-4 for a fly, and one tooth ruins them. This here makes it so you can catch many fish on it, and it's something that's real nice. I like the way they look. I really dig it. Okay, give me 1 second, y'all. I got to figure it. There it is. I got the right saddle. So I need to get a good fiber off of this, or a good feather off this. So I'm looking. I want something that's going to be a little bit bigger because I've got a gigantic hook that I chose to use for the video purposes. That looks like a good one. And it does matter. Sometimes you'll get a saddle that'll have feathers in it that will tie from a certain number to a small. Usually, not even usually, you can get them that'll tie from like 14 to size 20, or you can get them that'll tie from like 16 to size 24, like midge saddles. There's a whole science behind these saddles. Not that I know all the science. I've learned a lot from Brian the Flysmith because he has taken me under his wing. Like if I have a question about anything, I get a hold of him. He never turns me away. He's never steered me wrong. He's been so good to me. God bless you, Brian Smith, the Flysmith. I say that no matter what anybody may think, you absolutely deserve everything that comes your way, bro, because of the people that you've helped, the blessings that you have given people, and the person that you are dictates that you deserve whatever's coming to you, brother. You really do. I love you, man. But anyhow, yeah, he knows more about this saddle stuff than a lot of people that probably grow their own chickens or sell them. The man's got a whole plethora of knowledge on these. He understands what the grading system and why they grade them and how they grade them. He's probably got $50,000-$60,000 just in saddles alone. I probably shouldn't be saying stuff like that, but it's true. At least I'm not lying to you. So now you want to take this here and you want to try to do close palmering wraps. I am going to come back just a little bit more on that. There we go. And on these ones, it does require, from what I saw, there's a good bit of saddle hackle on, it's almost half the fly is saddle hackle up to the wings and then a little bit in front of them. So there we go. We're wrapping, we're palmering. This is called palmering. The wrapping I'm doing right now, that's palmering. I don't know why they call it that. I wish I did. I'd imagine it had to do with some guy that was a palmer, But yeah, I like to leave a little bit of room up at the front of the hook. Not much. And I probably should have chosen a tad bit thicker of a feather. But this one looked like it was going to be good. That's okay, though. It ain't going to hurt anything. There we go. And I get it to right there. And you're going to want to come in. And I like to pull these towards the front, the stem part towards the front, and get in there and give it a real good snip. And if you want to get a good close snip, you already know. Flysmith scissors. Sharpest you'll ever touch. As a matter of fact, they're dangerous. Okay, so now that I got there, I don't even have to really do what I normally do. And I normally have to do a half hitch to get my stuff to go back. I don't, to get the extra fibers that are sticking over back, but I only have one fiber sticking over, which means I took my time and I tied a pretty decent fly. I wish I would have, like I said, I wish I would have chose a little bit longer fibered piece of saddle hackle, but I'm going to go with this. This isn't about me tying a beautiful fly so much, even though this is beautiful in my opinion. It's about the how-to, letting you guys maybe follow me, maybe learn from me, and be able to tie these now yourself. That's what it's all about for me, hoping you guys are going to do it. And I'm going to give you a little advice. If you're a new tyer, rather than going out, please don't go out and buy a fly tying kit. Because I'll tell you why. What's going to happen is you're going to throw a whole bunch of materials that you don't want away. Because they give you, basically what you get in those kits is stuff that, I don't know, is like the stuff that they don't want to give for sale. Like they'll have extras. It's like second run stuff. Anyhow, another piece of advice is be very, very patient with yourself, because this can get aggravating at times. And just, don't be afraid to ask questions. There's a lot of Facebook groups out there. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to help. I can tell you right now, if you would reach out to me through Facebook, its name's David Smith. If you ever had any questions, I would take the time to help you. I would even go one-on-one with you in a video thing to try to walk you through stuff, because I'm all about trying to help everybody in the community. I want to see more tires come out. I don't want this art to go away. This is a passion of mine that, I'm just so happy I'm back in it, because I fell away from it for a long time, and then I had a lot of health problems, which really pulled me away from it because I forgot that I used to tie. But anyhow, here we are at the end of the video. I will put this in the tweezers and I will show it to you up close and personal. This is the Royal Wolf, Royal Coachman, whichever one you want to call it. There it is. See how the tail is just about 3/4 of the shank length? And there's just a few fibers. That's the way it's supposed to be. There's those beautiful Wally wings. I'm going to put it against my shirt a little, against the black part of my shirt so you can see them better, even though that got real small. I'll try to get it up close so you can see. Look how real they look. I find that amazing. And I need to trim this up just a little bit more. But at the end of the day, that's what we were trying to tie today, you guys. That's the Royal Wolf, Royal Coachman, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to set that down and tell you guys thank you so very much for being here. Much love to you all. If you liked what you saw, please like the video. More importantly, please subscribe to me. It's free, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs so I can start going live with you guys. I've said this before. I could go live now. I'm verified. They sent me a code to put in. I'm verified to go live. The thing is, I can only have 25 people in my chat at a time, and no one can comment. You have to make it to 1,000 subs to be able to comment. And I really like on TikTok, I've probably done close to 200 lives there. And I can go back and forth. As a matter of fact, I keep up with my chat better than I am tying, because you know how you use wire for segmentation? I'll finish the fly and have forgotten to put the wire around to make the segmentation because I'm talking to everybody. So anyhow, you guys have a great day. God bless you. And I hope all your dreams come true.